Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to See Blissfully Lit podcast. I'm Sammy, your host. And today I have a lovely guest with me, Miss Alexandra Mathews. She creates spaces for beings to come home to themselves so we can come home as one family, cultivating sacred union within and without. This can take form in one-on-one journeys, immersive retreats, sound and energy healing, guided meditation, or creative practices that help people reclaim their voice and embody their essence. She's a beauty, and you may find her singing and dancing with the elements, finding new ways to express her human experience through writing, music, film, celebrating this wild mystery with loved ones. Miss Alexandra, welcome. Thank you for being on See Blissfully Lit.
Hello, hello. I'm so grateful, so honored to be here. Thank you for inviting and welcoming me into this co-created space together. I'm so excited for whatever wants to come through. I'm now like, ooh, do, do, do.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and I love your warm, bubbly energy. Before we dive in, I'd love for you to share what magic means to you and how it plays a role in your journey.
Boom, let's jump right in. What does magic mean to you? Wow. When I feel into the word magic, I feel into the magi, and essentially that's kind of like low key. What it is that I feel passionate about is activating and empowering the magi within each of us. The magi being the wise one, the wizard, the you write the word imagination, our ability to envision and to project our highest vision for ourselves and all beings around us. And for me, that is the true magi, is that intentional right use of intention and will and alignment and surrender with the larger natural forces of creation to bring about, to steward consciousness, to direct focus and attention towards that which truly will serve not only self but serve all beings. And as we serve all beings, we honor and serve ourselves, for we are one with all of creation. So for me, magic is that we could say, like, we've been exploring this era of dark magic and the dark wizards, right? We can look at Hollywood, which is background that I come from. You look at Hollywood and look at the shamanic technology of filmmaking and how that has been utilized, the news and the media and even songs and the music and film industry. Very powerful magic that is very intentional and has been utilized, you could say, to hypnotize, to tell a vision, right? Tell a different vision, not empower your vision to come through, but tell you this is the vision. And spell casting, it truly is spell casting to spell a word. So when you combine imagery, you combine color, you combine shape, you combine sound, and certain types of cadence and rhythm in the way that that is coming through, you can absolutely bring people into hypnotized trance state. And we could say this is coming through, to transcend is for the trance to end. So, magic being our ability to create. And we're always creating. And we could say that we're always spell casting with every word, with every thought, with every prayer. And just to bring that full circle around with the dark wizards and the dark magic, and now seeing and feeling as a collective, we are now moving into this era of witnessing through the polarity and the duality of our ability to utilize film and media to enslave. And now is this beautiful opportunity that we are all remembering as a collective to be able to utilize these same technologies to be able to liberate.
Thank you for sharing. What a lovely answer, too. I picked some pieces out of your response that really resonated the most to me. And using that right use of the intention and the will, that really sits with me, and the trance to end, to transcend.
Mhm.
Yes. Um, both
Mm.
both really relate to that journey of that consciousness journey of recognition and realization of, who we really are and the deeper meaning of life and where we're headed.
Mhm.
So, I'd like to hear a story of a turning point in your life
Mm.
where you began this transcendence and turned your way toward conscious living.
Mm. The first one that's coming to heart, coming to mind is a pretty pivotal turning point for me around the age of 26, 27. Um, from the age of 16 to about that point, for about 10 years, I was living in Los Angeles where I was born, but I grew up in Florida. But I had returned to Los Angeles to pursue this lifelong dream of acting, to be an actor. And also during that time, I was in my first relationship that I was in for about 7 years. And we really cultivated a large community around us, and we were deeply enmeshed and immersed in everything that we were creating together, living together, building tribe and community, producing these events and these festivals together. And at some point, I was a young maiden, and around 25, 26, I think around 25 is when the relationship began to crumble. We were together for about 7 years. The relationship tower moment, relationship begins to crumble. I'm growing, evolving, he's growing, evolving, and we're evolving in different directions. And the time was complete. The contract was complete. Of course, it was devastating, heartbreaking, and pretty chaotic. And it needed to come in this very intense way where we just needed an external catalytic force to come in because we were so enmeshed. So it was pretty intense and traumatic, but also the relationship, there had been a lot of learning, a lot of lessons throughout. So it was just like, you know what, okay, here we go. And that had been everything that I had known, from leaving my parents' home to then being with this person. So it was very much a sense of a delayed, at least in my mind, there's still, I can restory this, but there's a sense of, usually you have this idea like when you're 18, then you're on your own, you have some time to get to know yourself. But it was like I was very much just like, okay, then plopped with this other being, and very much they were such a powerful influence that still been unraveling, the threads that are authentic for me, and releasing what is not authentic for me, and really discovering my unique authentic self. But around that age, 26, 27, I just was reaching a point. I was modeling full time up until then. And then it was, when spirit comes in and the timelines, the time waves, they shift and the tide turns. And I wasn't able to book any more gigs. And I was wondering what's going on, why for a while, I was booking multiple gigs, shows. And it was just like, whew, I just felt it. I was like, okay, like what's happening here? And I was deep in this inquiry with spirit, with creation, asking, what is it that I'm here to do? What is it that I'm here to focus on? I know that I'm so talented, and we spoke a little bit about this before getting on, of the plight of the highly creative being is that we're not limited to these boxes, and we can absolutely do almost anything and everything, and we probably do have a lot of different passions. And in this world that often says you need to like pick this one thing, you're an artist or you're a doctor or you're a scientist, and these like false, labels and boxes, that and just the way that things have been up until now. And then there are those of us that come in, these renaissance beings, and we're multidimensional and we're multifaceted, and I believe all beings are. And perhaps those of us that do feel this a little more readily are here to inspire all beings to be able to relate to oneself beyond these boxes or these roles, even the role of mother or daughter or sister or teacher or student, just these interesting constructs in society and ways that we can then feel limited by or bound by whatever that role may be. And so this time in my life was a moment of dissolving and breaking through the role of being the model, of being the partner, of the girlfriend, of even being the community leader, community mother. And it was pretty major, and it's definitely one of those major turning points. But there was, I don't know what the moment was, but there was this sense. I remember contemplating, I'm done waiting to be chosen by someone else outside of me, to be chosen by a director to say, yes, here you go, you've gotten the part and now you can play. Why do I need to wait to play? Like, why was I waiting to get cast in this most amazing, like, sci-fi fantasy movie? That's totally, what I was into, still into. And, wanting to be this badass, intergalactic Jedi priestess. I was like, I'm just gonna live my life as the Jedi priestess. Like, why am I waiting to be chosen? It was this moment of reclamation of power, and also how much the industry, and that being a microcosm for the world, are we often waiting to be chosen by an external authority, often daddy, someone that represents daddy or mommy, and patriarchy. That's something though that can come up very strongly, especially for women. And got a little truck coming through. Um, and also in my relationship, I was in a relationship, but I had jumped into that relationship so early at age 16 that I really had no sense of self. And I didn't even know what self-love was. That was definitely something that we both discovered in the process of learning by doing.
Mhm.
And so it was not only waiting for a director or a producer or someone outside of me to say, yes, like you have permission to like live the life of your dreams. It was also waiting for permission and validation from my partner, which again, we could say is a projection of the part of me that was still wanting that permission, that validation from my father and from my mother. And it was like, oh, why do I feel like I need that for my partner to feel worthy? And it was this moment of reclamation of power. And it's not like it was one fell swoop and all of a sudden I chose myself and perfectly self-loving and perfectly feeling whole and complete. Like that was a wave, right? That was a pulse, and it's been many, many pulses and many waves since then. But that was a very powerful wave of coming to completion, and really coming to completion with this lifelong dream of wanting to be an actor and really wanting to share and to serve my medicine in that way. And that moment was a releasing and surrendering. I There's a specific moment. I'm trying to remember what the original, oh, just a moment of like a turning point. Was there, can you share with me again? Because
Well,
it's coming through.
you're sharing your Saturn return, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. But and and that was pre-Saturn return. My Saturn return came a few years later, but the shadow, right? The shadow. This is
Uh,
just like this is the lunar return. 27 is the lunar return. So then there's a whole Saturn return. That's a whole other. But yeah, it's just like, right, these larger cycles of the maturation. And I would say the timing of this is so impeccable, of course, as our higher selves has such incredible timing. For anyone that is doubting, you're exactly where you're meant to be, and your higher self has impeccable timing. I feel like I've just popped out of my or birthed through and come to completion, coming out of the dark forest of the maiden and really coming into my mother, and now feeling ready to begin to share these stories and to share this medicine. But to bring that full circle, and also very feminine, very fractal, spirally, spider webby in the way that view reality and consciousness and share stories. So I'm like, okay, we'll come here again. Is from that remembrance of not needing to wait to be chosen and choosing myself. Um, yeah, it's like I left everything. I left the community. I left the relationship that I was in. I cut my hair for a long time. I always wanted to cut my hair and do really fun, funky things. I had long black hair for a long time, but I couldn't because I needed to stay accessible for my modeling and my acting work for auditions, or I can't be like changing it up all the time according, right, to those systems. And so it was just this moment of reclamation and liberation. And I'd always wanted to cut my hair super short, platinum blonde. And so I did. I cut my hair short, and then dyed it platinum blonde. And it was this, again, getting in touch with who is it that I am when I don't have to be someone for someone else. and really exploring something, a term that's come through is unleashing my inner frequency, like FREQ, but also freak, allowing my inner expression to come through. And from that moment, I remember I was sitting in a ceremony. Yes, it was an ayahuasca ceremony. I was sitting in a ceremony and I had just cut my hair, and it was shortly after leaving this relationship. And also, I had received the guidance, feel called to share this, that I was at a festival. Maybe this was like a year or two later. I was at a festival and there was someone else that I was interested in. I was in this courtship phase with someone, and it kind of just all fizzled out. And in a very, but more like instead of fizzling out, it kind of just, I don't know, it kind of came to a I don't know what the word is right now, but it just more of like a catalytic explosion in my heart. It wasn't between us, but there was like all this buildup, and then there was this misalignment, and then it just that disappointment and that heartbreak just fully cracked me open. And I
Mm-hmm.
was at this festival, and I'm, with my friends, and I'm just like obliterated. That's this other term that comes through. I was like obliterated. My heart was just like, but I was like, okay, well, I may as well also have fun, like while I'm here in it, in the grief and the heartbreak. And there was this moment on the dance floor. I was dancing, and all of a sudden, there was this vision, but it was like a felt vision. It was an energy, it was a transmission. And that was the first of that kind in that clear way that had ever come through before. And it was a transmission from the goddess. And it was this answer to the query that I had been in, which was, where do I focus my energy? Is it acting? Is it music? Is it writing? All those various interests that I had. Like, what is it that I'm here to do? How do I focus my energy? And the energy that came through in that transmission was devote yourself to the temple. And it was like
Wow.
whoa. And I had been on my spiritual path. I mean, I started meditating at the age of 14, but it had been these various little, magical breadcrumbs, these rose petals along the way, from my first time receiving Santa Maria cannabis, right, 14, 15, and that being an awakening, and then mushrooms at age 18, and then meeting various magical beings in the Los Angeles area. My first priestess teacher, mentor, belly dance teacher, that was definitely a huge activation of remembrance. The first time I ever had a sense of like, oh, I've done this before. Like, I don't know how, what, when, where, but there's a feeling of like, I know this and I've done this before. And so I've been someone that's just always been following the breadcrumbs, following my curiosity, and it's led to all kinds of wild and weird and magical, mysterious, incredible experiences, places, and synchronicities, which I feel like is something that's coming next for us to discuss, the synchronicities. But so it had been a journey, but it's for me, the awakening it's never been like, boom, I had this one awakening and then that was it. It's been these series, it's been these bloomings of awakening, these blooming cycles, and then death cycles, forgetting again, awakening and remembering again. And in that moment at that festival with that transmission, with my heart cracked open wide enough to receive, I was like, oh wow, everything, my art, my storytelling, my writing, like all put it into proper context. And as I share this now, it's reminding me again
Yeah.
of it's all in service to the path. It's all in service to the temple, to devotion, to that which is sacred within all of us. And all of that will be able to be utilized in whatever way is wanted to be utilized. So that was a powerful moment of reclaiming authorship, authority, right? To reclaim being the author from being like the puppet, from being just the actor. Realize, oh, I'm not just an actor. I love to express, I love to play, I love the sacred ritual of theater. And also reclaiming myself as a script writer of my own life, as an author, as a director, as a producer, as all the different parts. And it was very much a reclaiming, I could say, of my crown, of my own sovereign authority in that moment to, okay, I was always waiting and now I'm creating. So what is it that I want to be creating. And then from that point on, that next wild, magical, rose petal journey of my yoga training, Reiki training, and then really deepening in my healing facilitation studies. And it was like a whole, yeah, distinct moving into that Saturn return.
Thank you so much for sharing. It is a blossoming of sorts when we go through those transformations, and it seems that life does work in cycles, and there are many layers to transformation throughout each lifetime that we move through. When you share temple, what does temple mean to you?
Oh, temple?
Mhm.
Yeah. Temple is a sacred space. There is something that is coming through my being to share, and it's in my sacred work. Kind of a core aspect of my sacred work is called the temple of being, and it's very much the temple templates. A temple is also like a template. It's a structure. It's a sacred structure. It's a structure that is created with intention, once again with the intention. If we think of a temple, a church, or a synagogue, or any type of these temples, what is that? It's a place that we are in devotion, that we are in prayer, and that we are in reverence to that something greater than us. So for me, temple consciousness is, something that I wrote in the little form is always also love to keep that balance of silly and sacred, because I also feel that we can go into these conversations of spirituality and the temple, and there can sometimes come with it this over seriousness, and then we can forget the whole point in the first place, the joy and the bliss, like the name of your podcast. We can forget like the joy and the bliss because of all of the suffering, which is completely understandable, still happening right now in the Middle East. I'm a quarter Palestinian. I feel deeply connected to everything. And I know we all, on some level, those of us that are sensitive, feel deeply connected to what is happening. And so it's still happening. So I feel it's understandable, and just a lot of compassion for the seriousness and the intensity that we all feel, and also here in these moments, in these conversations, inviting the expansion to also include more of the joy as an act of rebellion, we could say, as an act of, yes, in the face of all atrocity and all adversity, still may we continue to sing and to pray and to dance. And so the temple is a place within oneself. For me, this is for me, within oneself, and also then this can manifest physically. And this is a prayer, is the birthing, and I know I'm not the only one by any means. And actually, I'm calling out to any of my collaborators and my allies, because none of us, we can't do this alone. We're not meant to do it alone. Is the rebuilding of the temple networks, and rebuilding of, in the ways that we have churches as central points in cities and communities. There's a purpose for that, right? They're built on the ley lines of being able to bring through these, for me, a universal wisdom space, a space where beings can feel safe, where they belong. One aspect that I love about Burning Man, as it's very activating and inspiring for what's possible, is that there is a central temple, and you have 100,000 or more people, and somehow, and people are high, and they're on all kinds of medicines and substances, coming from all walks of life, and somehow there's this temple space that it's just revered. Everyone reveres it. It's not graffiti. There's this sense, and there's this collective energy field where somehow we're all able to come and respect and recognize when something is sacred together, because that is something that we all share, is grief. And so people will have photos on the walls of people that have passed away, and there's something that just, maybe when we really can imbue that trust into humanity and not feel that we need to control through all of the rules and the regulations of religion, which served their purpose in a time when that was needed in our consciousness. And now we're maturing and we're evolving and we're growing, and it feels really exciting to see what is possible when we create spaces that in the fabric and the field of the space is a sense of trust for people to show up in their best selves and to co-create and to collaborate together for whatever is needed in that moment. And that's my prayer, is to create temple spaces, ascension hubs, whatever we want to call it, magical oasis for beings to come, to be together, to play, to pray, to create, to educate in these new ways, and explore what are the new templates that are coming online where we are sovereign, we are in synarchy, right? The dismantling and the dissolution of the hierarchy, this returning of the circle of the indigenous council tribal leadership style. This is something I'm really passionate and excited about to explore and discover. And as we're able to create this in our own immediate environments, our immediate communities, then how we connect like a mycelial network to all of the other temple networks and empower each other, and very much like the trees and the mushrooms, like the Hollywood, right? From the Hollywood to the Hollywood, these temples as these trees, and connected through this mycelial, we can share all of the resources and the tools and whatever it is. Like, oh, you figured this out. Oh, you can help this us out with this, and boom, boom, we can share, because I deeply believe we have absolutely everything that we need. Simply, it's a matter of the organization of the resources and the clarity of the vision.
Exactly. And rediscovering what is within us because we all have the tools.
Yeah, hey, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. It's
Yeah.
very inspiring. I love to hear your vision, and I do feel an interconnectedness to that networking that you are
Yeah.
describing, this sacred trust.
Mm.
Very, very deep in my heart.
Mm.
I'd love to hear uh, any experience or synchronicity that you have encountered that was just extraordinary, beyond belief. You maybe you thought you were like imagining it or going completely insane. Um, what comes to you?
It's always, I've thought about this question before, because my life is guided, is led, is completely, um, like synchronicity is my jam. And one of the archetypal systems that is the signature of my archetype as Red Earth. This is the galactic Mayan astrology, which I was really into for a while and received so much, and then I've maybe shifted now to more of the traditional Mayan calendar. But with the Red Earth archetype, it's that I produce synchronicity. So this is a very close to home, this awareness. And let's see. And so for me, it's almost like my whole life is a synchronicity. It's like all of it together. And I've had innumerable mind-blowing, heart-blowing synchronicity. It's almost gotten to that point where we were talking about earlier about like the journal and needing to reflect. I mean, every single day I'm seeing angel numbers. Every single day, every time I look at the clock, I'm gonna say every single time, but in an overwhelming amount, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 11, 11, or 108. I feel, for me, synchronicity is this beautiful love language, this flirtation with creation, with the cosmos, this reminder, yes, everything is always in its synchronic order. How could it be otherwise? When you look at the planets, if you look at the moon and the sun and the earth, and the way that everything is oriented, that it flows, and we're orbiting, and that as an earth we're the perfect distance from the sun, that we're not frozen and we're not fried. It's like there's this divine intelligence, you could say God, that grand organizing design. So for me, it's all synchronic, it's all incredible synchronicity. And I can tune in and see if there is one synchronicity that is wanting to come in right now. um See what that may want to be, to inspire and nurture and activate. Um, well, for me, I guess what's coming through right now is relationships. One of my biggest teachers in this life has been relationship, all forms of relationships, romantic relationships, friendship, collaboration. And I have been a nerd, a nerd for, since forever in my I don't even know, but like I just remember in my teens just like researching things and astrology and things that I didn't really know anything about that. No one in my field was really into any of that, but just finding myself asking questions about the nature of life and always wanting to Scorpio rising in Western, wanting to dig deeper. So, what I uncovered was really magical about these systems, astrology, and then now we have human design, we have, there's the destiny cards, is it's a really beautiful way to map and to track cycles and to track relational patterns. And for me, my mind, that's also another aspect of the red earth and perhaps synchronicities. My mind really works in tracking patterns, recognizing patterns. And I would imagine pretty much most seers and most oracles and most magi, that's how our consciousness works as we track through mapping. So for me, I don't know if it's like, it's not like a specific one moment, but there have been recognizing the synchronicities and the patterns of my relationships. And when I would track my partners, you could say like their astrology chart, their birth info. Here's one that's coming through that wants to be shared. So, in the galactic Mayan astrology, based on the traditional Mayan structure, you have these 13-day cycles. Call them a wave spell, or in the traditional, call it a trecena, and there's these waves of time. And so in this way of remembering, time is not linear, it moves radially and moves like a wave. So it's really fun to track these cycles because you begin to tune to nature. And I'd been deep in this system for a while, and as with any system, at some point you might feel called to, oh, let me check out this part of it. So one day I was looking at this one specific wave spell, this one specific 13-day cycle that my mother was a part of. Like she was the 10th, she was the manifestation point of this wave. And I remember looking at it and I recognized that two of my main relationships, the one that I mentioned earlier, and then my other main relationship that I've had, both of them were also in that same wave. So for me, I'm just like, so this was my passion and my almost like my obsession with this system. It was an incredible, it's a synchronicity tracker. And so I've been someone that I'll read what the energy of the day is and then throughout the day track what the synchronicities are. And it's just been, again, mind blowing to witness the perfection of the design of this creation. That was like, for me, one very tangible way to be like, how is it possible that my two main partners and my mother are in the same wave spell, which was in this cycle of the wizard, of the wise one, of our power and our magic. And for me, what that really speaks to is how these relationships are truly were guiding me home to that original core wounding so that I could heal the mother wound, which I feel is a big part of the work that I offer and I share with people is as we heal that mother wound, that original wounding, that really unlocks the gifts and the blessings of our soul to be able to be shared because that's our first connection, whether we had a connection with our mother or not. That's we were created in her womb, gestated in her womb, made of her blood, of her dreams, of her nervous system is intoning and setting the rhythm of our consciousness. So that is very much that first imprint. So as we return to the mother wound and we can uncover and unravel that story and see what it has there for us to be able to share that our mess is our message, right? Our mess is our medicine for all beings. So I'm flowing in a bunch of different spaces, but that was just like, okay, okay. As much as,
Mhm.
anyone wants to think that anything is random, it's like, it's just been overwhelming that for me, nothing is random.
Yeah.
Everything is so absolutely synchronized.
Yes, I agree with nothing is random. I see it every day, and there's a message in near, I mean, every moment. If you really sit back and find the presence in the moment, you can discover the gift that's there for you. And that's something I always come back to day because that is life. And they're trying to guide you to your truest self. And you are embracing it and you're sharing it and you're mapping it. And I'm I'm really enjoying hearing how you process everything. Thank you so much for sharing the synchronicity of your life and how synchronicity plays such a huge role. In your opinion, how can people tap into the magic within themselves to create the life that they envision?
Such a beautiful, beautiful question. Hmm. The first thing I'm present to is witnessing the deepening of my breath. So I would say begins with the breath. Even in this moment, for anyone that is listening, watching, receiving, in this now moment, inviting just an awareness of your breath. What was the question? The question, how do we tap into magic, right? As we connect with this breath, the invitation to become present to the gift, right? We were talking about that, to become present to the gift that is this now moment, this miracle moment. For me, a big part of the magic is the slowing down, the pausing, the tuning into what is already here, and the awareness of the hilarity that it's somewhere out there that has to be chased or found. I don't know, I get this image of like a rainbow and like searching for the treasure chest, right? The treasure's in the chest, as one of my Theta teacher, Doug Moses, he says the treasure is in the chest. So with the breath allows us to connect and anchor into this moment. So often, myself included, are a million other places, operating from kind of just here up, especially in our culture, in our Western society. And the magic is this body, this leading edge technology, this incredible multidimensional vehicle that we are barely remembering what it is capable of. And for me, in this journey of dropping in, creating and healing the trauma so that there can be more safety in the body, and that's the deepening of the breath. As the breath deepens, we're able to drop in and occupy this beautiful body more. And then it's just like this incredible sensing antenna that can, everything that the computer can do, everything that our digital technology can do, what an incredible, blessed tool. May we use it in right relation. May it remind us, and may it remind each of you that is watching this, that it is a mere reflection of your inner technology, of the true technology of this quantum being that is you, that is the human being. And then, of course, in collaboration with the earth and all other beings, and boom, it's just beyond. It's just right here, right now, this breath, and allowing the breath to allow my consciousness to drop into my body and to feel what is here, and to just listen for any communication. It may come in the form of sensation, it may just feel buzzing or warmth or coolness. But how magical is it? I was actually just in this conversation last night with my friend. Like, what? Like, I don't know. We walk around every day like it's just normal, and we wear like our suits and we're like going to work and we got meetings and we're all serious, but like, what? Like, we're these incredible, like, my heart is beating and it's been beating since I was born. And my breath, it just breathes. And I don't, like, yes, actually, I was going to say I don't need to be plugged in. Actually, I do need to be plugged into the earth and to source. But there's this, I'm just here. We're here. And it's just, yeah, the miracle of life, the like how we're even conceived and created, that we as women can create beings, and men, the collaboration of being able to birth new life through the womb, birth new worlds. Like, it's all pretty magical. So the invitation just to pause for a moment and look around, especially get outside, go be in nature, which it's all nature. We are nature, we are the earth, and just really take and receive a tree, connect with the tree, connect with the rivers, connect with the sun, and just contemplate the majesty and the awe and the beauty of how is with all of the chaos, with all of the wars, with all of the insanity, the mind control, the programming, the television, amazing to me that here we still are. We haven't blown ourselves up off of this planet. Well, maybe we haven't, Atlantean times, and here we are again, and we're remembering to be able to do this in another way. For me, there's obviously so much more going on because we're not alone. We're not the only ones, and we are so supported by many seen and unseen beings. Is the only thing for me that makes sense in both full spectrum, the dark and the light. It's like the fact that there must be some darker beings, as part of this evolutionary experience, this video game of life, is the only thing that makes sense that humans would do the crazy messed up things that are happening. I'm like, that's the only thing for me that makes sense because humans are very heart-centered beings. So that's happening, and then also if that's happening, then there's also other beings on the other side of the polarity that also are supporting and guiding us, and to deeply honor that it's all part of this exploration of consciousness. And perhaps sometime very soon we will graduate out of the need to be in this experience of duality, and we can explore new geometries of relating within self and within others that allow for ever more harmonious flow and thriving from scarcity to thriving.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. I just have to hold a moment for that because what you shared really opened my heart and it brought me back to self
Mm.
and this deep appreciation and love for the body and for being here with you today in this presence that we get to share and we get to hold together. And I just want to thank you so much. And I want to thank our listeners for being here with us too. And for those of you who are ready for opening your hearts to this transmission, to this sharing, to this connection that Alexandra has so eloquently shared. Thank you. So as we begin to close up, I usually do a meditation, but I'd really love it if you'd guide something for us. Would you be open to this?
Sure, sure, yeah. um, yeah, we could also do it together. Do you want to start us off?
Sure,
And then we can like free flow. Yeah.
we can do that. So, for those of you who are driving, don't do this right now. Just
Pause.
pause the recording and you can come back to it when you're in a safe space. For those of you who are seated, go ahead and sit upright. Bring your back so it's not up against any pillows or leaning against anything. And we'll just sit upright. Feeling your spine elongate, an imaginary line pulling through the crown of your head, lifting you up. Feeling that same line pulling through the base of your spine, connecting you to Mother Earth. Feeling that interconnectedness. Take a deep breath, focus on your chest, focus on your heart. With each breath, sending that loving light through all parts of your being, shining brighter and brighter with each exhale.
Just noticing Noticing what's here. Noticing what's here in this now moment. Connecting with your heart, connecting with your body, connecting with this radiant light that is source, animating every cell, drinking in this vital life force, this true currency, this current of creative force flowing through, overflowing. Allow yourself to drink in and receive whatever is desired and required to thrive in this now moment. Drinking it in from the earth, from the elements, from source. Allowing yourself to source direct this unconditional love, this nourishment. To release back to the earth any inauthentic foreign energies. Just allow effortlessly, like leaves falling from the tree with the exhale, to release any energy that is not yours, that is not meant to be carried. Like with the sigh or a sound, we can offer back little wiggles or shakes. Being sensitive, spongy beings, we can just easily collect energies and pick up energy. So, allowing these moments of pause and grounding to support us with energy hygiene, to release what is not ours, so we can create space for more of our soul's authentic light to come online, to ground into the body. And with the next breath, calling home all of your authentic energies from all time and space. And you can imagine as these energies are coming home, that they can be filtered through your auric field to be clean and clear with love, to be reintegrated with ease and grace. So, a few rounds of breath here with the inhale, calling yourself home. Exhale, releasing what is not yours. Inhaling, reintegrating your authentic energies as wisdom. Releasing density, stagnancy. Inhaling and exhaling. And just a few more at your own pace, in your own way. Feeling yourself syncing up with your own natural rhythm, with the heartbeat of the earth, allowing yourself to be held by the earth, to be held by gravity. Attuning to your North Star, your highest path and purpose with every breath. And then a prayer for you, clear pathways within and throughout. May you know and remember who you truly be, your soul's highest, truest, deepest, widest joy and passion, creative expression. May you courageously share your unique frequency with all of creation, your heart song, your soul song, for it is an inimitable aspect and part of the orchestra of life, the instrument of your being, the unique note of your soul spark is so needed. Your message, your story, your voice, your unique gifts, and always remembering that your presence is the greatest gift. You are so loved and you are so seen and you are so held, so cherished by many seen and unseen forces. Never alone. We are all one family, one tribe. And may all beings be happy and free. Remember, we belong. May we all thrive and open our hearts to share and receive this love, to nurture and nourish all life. Mm. And so it is.
Mhm. Mm. Mhm. Open your eyes. The big bright smile. Ready to meet the day where you are, or the evening.
Mm.
I always cherish our connection, Miss Alexandra. Thank you so much for joining the Blissfully Lit podcast today. Thank you for your presence, as it is truly, truly precious, precious gift.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sammy. I'm so deeply honored and grateful to weave with you and yeah, just channel these energies and frequencies. And I'm here in Mount Shasta and bringing through those energies and you bringing through the lands where you are. Where are you?
The beautiful lands of Bloomington, Indiana.
Mm.
The forest beings are here.
Mm.
Love all of you. Thank you all for joining us today.